I don't understand.
We gotta stop living in this world where PlayStation makes good games, because that world isn't here right now.
Astrobots!
They just aren't. So
Or consoles. Consoles.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and yes, today we got some of that sweet salt for you in your next dose of the salty batch files. As of the recent news, more news coming up in regards to Xbox possibly or potentially looking to have sold the company or just kind of bowing out of the gaming business as a whole. This has been kind of re-upped here and some more evidence behind that, but because of that and the way things are going with how they're acting third party, obviously the salt continues to flow. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, let's get right to the salt here, right before we jump in. Boy, if we thought 2024 was a bad year for Xbox fanboys, 2025 isn't shaping up to be too much better. We'll see what happens, but at this point in time, early on in 2025, not looking so hot, but let's look at some of the copium right here. First example from Snapblast Play. He is back, of course. He has a very hot take, by the way. This is just so hot. It's on fire. The greatest fire you've ever seen. Here we go. Xbox simply got too many games to just keep them on one platform. This is the narrative. PlayStation got no games, and they will continue to money hat third-party, timed, fake exclusivity. I don't know how you fake exclusivity, but that's a new one to me. Please let me know down in the comments how that is a thing. But to pretend like they got games, it's over. So, Herman Holst and company. It's a good thing Shuhei just got out of Dodge, because it is completely over for the Sony fan base, for the PlayStation fan base, the ecosystem. It's done. This is just such a hot take. He was ahead of the game here. He was ahead of the curve. Wow. What a messiah. What a messiah we have here, right? Xbox got too many games, apparently so many, it just confuses folks. That's why they're not buying the consoles, guys. That's why they're not doing anything there. That's why they're not buying the games, and they're relying on a rental service that not even everybody is renting from. But yes, completely. Man, the delusion is exceptionally strong today, folks. I don't know what to make of that one, but this is probably one of my favorites. Favorite posts in some time. And as you can see, you can hit a pause here and show the comparisons he supposedly has, and leaves off a lot of games in regards to that. And again, fake exclusivity. Make that make sense. That's absolutely absurd. And please get help, sir. Please get help. Let's go on to the next one here. This is just we'll see what happens here, right? So here we have post up. The Great Migration will be a cold summer for the Xbox community, showing a GIF of National Geographic Wild, kind of encapsulating that. So again, we're just going to have an example here. He thinks this is all going to happen, and quite potentially could happen if Xbox was to go obviously full third party, even with their handheld, and if all those games are available elsewhere with more established, fan bases within an ecosystem. Then yes, that can certainly happen, but I haven't followed up after this post of his, but I wonder if he's already did the 180 and he's back to saying PlayStation's doom and gloom, Xbox for the win, the narrative makes sense, all this stuff, right? We're waiting to see what goalpost or shenanigans are coming up, but at this point in time, the last I've seen of his, he thinks there's going to be a cold migration going on. We'll have to see if that happens. So let's go on to the next one here. So we have Kid Smooth here, right? I don't understand how people brag about console sales of their preferred platform, but you have nothing you really new to play. So do you sit in front of your PlayStation console, staring at the dashboard, screaming, yes, you outsold Xbox again? I'm so confused. I mean, these guys have short-term memory. They have short-term memory, right? Was it not so far ago? And yes, 4 years ago was not that long ago. At this point, almost 5, getting there, right? Halfway through the year, whatever you want to call it. But basically a little over 4 years ago. 2020, the entirety of 2020 and then some Xbox didn't even have a first-party exclusive game on their console even if it was day and date with PC, whatever. We're talking console exclusivity here. They didn't even have anything for over a year, and you want to come back and whine and complain and act like there was no exclusive content or games. Do we not remember how PlayStation 1 worked? Do we not remember how PS2 generation worked? Third-party timed exclusivity, if not full-on exclusive or timed or whatever the case is, that's how they made their bread and butter back then. They didn't just first party out of the house make all these games. And the way that AAA gaming is, that's not going to continue to happen. Otherwise, yes, they're going to be doing what Xbox is doing and putting their games everywhere, right? So you want to make those smart commitments, you want to make those smart deals and do that. So this is such an asinine post. And just screaming into the void, yeah, there's no games. Like, it's absolutely absurd to me that somebody thinks there's nothing on PlayStation, and people just have a PlayStation console to sit there on their entertainment stands or in their rooms or whatever the case is, just to look pretty, just to have it there and use it for Netflix and Peacock Plus and Paramount Plus and whatever. It's just like, are you serious right now? People are going to pay $500 for just a streaming machine that you can do with most smart TVs nowadays. Use your brain and stop being so salty and get over yourself and realize how much of a good system and ecosystem the PlayStation is, instead of putting yourself in this hole. I mean, day after day, L after L, this guy continues to take. Been featuring Kids Move almost as much as Colt Eastwood at this point. My gosh. Let's keep going here because we do have a couple examples from one person here. I do not feature this person all that often because they like to pretend they're not super biased, or they like to pretend they're using a clear head and stuff like that. But here we have Dano, so you understand what I'm talking about, stating, why is it that anytime there's any good news about Xbox, the very next day, all the leakers come out with stuff to dampen the excitement? It's like clockwork. So here we go again, right? My past videos, right? Victim mentality. Here we go. So every time, we'll reread that real quick. Anytime there's good news about Xbox, the very next day, all the leakers come out with stuff to dampen the excitement. Like it's some sort of a conspiracy going on to try and dampen or hamper rather, of what's going on with the Xbox ecosystem and the fan base and the games and whatever, right? Under the umbrella. But as we continue here, who knows what's accurate anymore? Because, yes, just like we said, Game Pass not being sustainable. Who knows what's accurate anymore, right? Who uses common sense anymore, right, Dano? And then he continues, I'll wait for the official news and just enjoy my games. Yes, your games strictly on your Xbox, the games where you're crying this victim mentality, and it's a problem because it's always this conspiracy. Every time there's some good news about Xbox and Developer Direct or whatever the case is, new game being announced, close to releasing a new first-party IP, it's going to be hype. It's always someone out there to dampen it. Well, it wouldn't dampen it if it wasn't true or if it hasn't been in the works for quite some time. See how that makes sense, Dano? Just a little bit. Let's be honest with yourself, Mr. Level-headed, clear-headed guy. Let's be honest with yourself. This screams copium to the max degree, but we have your other example here as well. So that, as you can see, was from, the 10th of January, and then we have this other one here that is from the 13th of January here. As we go over here, I'm very much over, and I think this was on the same post, just on the thread, right? But I'm very much over the Xbox rumor mill. It's interesting to talk about for a little bit, but too many people losing their minds over something that isn't even official or confirmed. Let's get back to gaming, people. You're on here. You're on here adding more drama to the fire. So if you weren't, you would just be off of social media. And I understand you're doing stuff. I think you have a website and all this other stuff. You're trying to do gaming stuff. Hats off to you. Commendable there for sure. But to sit here again and just be like, I'm just over it. I'm over all the drama and the nonsense and poor us and poor Xbox ecosystem. Like, no, stop. Like, you guys have done it to yourself. You included were hardcore into this stuff. And you don't call it out. You don't call it as it is. So you are part of the problem. So stop like this whole kumbaya-ish and let's just play games, people. Give me a break, buddy. I don't know who you're fooling here, but Oliver goes on to state, the fact that Microsoft didn't address these rumors, even though Xbox community is nervous, make them actually more trustworthy. Exactly. the silence is deafening on Microsoft's end here. And for someone to sit there and be like, guys, it's okay, calm down. You had the likes of Uni Sensei that I've featured multiple times on this channel in the past, and Tim Dog that I featured multiple times on this past, and we're good and on good speaking terms, and he's out there being truthful. Finally, he's had enough bullcrap too. When does it take enough is enough for the rest of the groups here? I will tell you that Dano, I will give him this. He's not trying to grift, but he is definitely being that victim type of personality here, and this fake kumbaya when he should have been upfront and real with everything. And he does have a decent following, and he is getting things going. So let's be honest with your fan base. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Simple as that. I can still attest to this point in time. It's not all sunshine and rainbows on PlayStation's end. I still don't like the fact that we don't get any touch base stuff from Sony whatsoever. They're almost as bad as, Nintendo with their Nintendo Directs. It's like they just drop one day. At least Nintendo Directs drop one day. We don't get anything on the PlayStation side of things as far as state of plays. And, we used to get more communication. And I know some of you out there get a little upset when I say this, but it's the truth. We do not get the same type of communication we used to back even like 8 years ago with PlayStation, right? If not less than 8 years ago. And, this gen especially has been completely quiet. It's really been hit and miss as far as the communication. Now, as far as the games, fantastic. I'm not upset about any games whatsoever. I'm enjoying myself. There's great content. That's just a nitpick, but I'm just being honest, throwing it out there that it's just not all sunshine and rainbows here. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. Like I've said over and over again, we need more communication from the team, whether it's stuff to be held off or look forward to it later in the year. We'll share more information. It's complete radio silence. Would like to hear more. Just a quick little update on that end of things here, but let's continue here, of course. We're not done here. Estelle making an ass of himself once again here. Haven't featured him for a minute, but here we have him. The video game industry is changing. We are at the dawn of a big paradigm shift. So you heard it first from this fraud himself. First-party Xbox games going to PlayStation. Okay. So far truthful right there, though. First-party PlayStation games going to Xbox. News to me. Where did you get this information? Are you just talking out of your ass again, making yourself the ass and asked all? I mean, because that seems to be the case. So, he continues, no more big third-party game exclusives. Really? Who's your insider? Where did you hear this from? News to me, again. The battle will be on contents, quality hardware, and services. So we have a little bit of back and forth here real quick on this, right? The battle will be on contents, which I'm assuming is content, quality hardware. But if we're having content and services everywhere, with quality hardware now, you think that we're going to delve into this market of special quality hardware? What makes you think that anybody's going to buy an Xbox piece of hardware in regards to where they need to be for sales? When the Series S and X isn't working, even if it's a handheld, we'll see. That's their best shot. That's the Hail Mary. Like I said, we're going to have to wait and see. However, I don't see Nintendo or PlayStation worrying in that department, but as we continue to go here, and services, again, very comparable, and now Game Pass is going to continue to shift, just like it shifted from its base Game Pass, right? As far as day one games. Now you have to have Ultimate. Now you have to do this. Expect that to change. Expect that to get more expensive. Expect maybe fewer and fewer day and dates. It's just not sustainable unless you get those Game Pass sub numbers or something else changes. That's the future you have to look forward to. But again, I just want to highlight all this from this idiot because what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You're just making shit up out of your ass. You're literally an ass face. You're literally an ass face spewing this diarrhea of misinformation and lies to make yourself and any of your followers feel better. Pretty embarrassing in my opinion. And I'm sure pretty embarrassing to those around you and those viewing any of your posts, content, whatever the case is. But continue to do you, right? Let's go on here because we have something from a person named Blue at Turbo Furby. Let's share this with you. Put Helldivers on Xbox and Halo on PlayStation. It's mutually beneficial in regards to Charlie Intel's new rumor claiming that Halo the Master Chief Collection could be released on PlayStation 5 later this year via Nate the Hate, like I reported on in a couple videos ago or whatever. So, compartmentalizing this. Helldivers for Halo. First of all, as a PlayStation fan, again, just my opinion, I'll take Helldivers over any day. So if this was a thing that we would trade or mutually share, you can get Helldivers on PlayStation or PC at this point in time. So if you really want to play it, you got a couple platforms to choose from. Number two, I, again, will choose Helldivers over Halo any day. I don't need Halo. It's fine if it comes over, mess around with it. I guarantee you most of the PlayStation fan base isn't clamoring for Halo. If they were, they would have gotten an Xbox or played on PC or vice versa, just like we're doing with Helldivers too. So I like how he thinks this is a game, this is a wagering thing, like Sony needs to do this, PlayStation needs to do this with Helldivers because they need Halo. No, the complete opposite. Xbox needs Helldivers. Xbox needs these IPs that would for certain drive up the sales of software, hardware, and you name it, and as well as obviously customers on the Xbox ecosystem. This is not a bargaining chip. This is not the weight scale you think it is. This isn't needed to happen. Try again on the next iteration of Let's Make a Deal. Okay? let's try that later on. But as we continue to go here, we have one more post to follow up here, right? Oh, the delusionist himself, the king of delusions, maybe. I don't know where he's aiming for at this point, but anyways, King David, here he is. Let me put it up here for you. I had to take a breath before we can get to it because it zaps the energy, trying to explain, trying to show this. But as you can see, millions of PCs run Microsoft. Microsoft making all Windows upgrade from 10 to 11. Windows 11 and 12 will have Xbox integrated into the code. Millions of Xboxes in seconds when it goes live. New hardware. Selling software everywhere. Xbox wins. Checkmate. What kind of copium and delusion is this? What are we doing here? The goalpost moving, the spinning. I mean, it takes a minute to even break this down, right? I mean, it's awful wording. It's just, it's hard for me to even break this apart every time I'm looking at it. This isn't my first time looking at it, folks. I've looked at this time and time again since I've had it in my back pocket here. And it's just the amount of copium here. Millions of PCs run Microsoft, right? So everything's an Xbox now, right? Microsoft making all Windows upgrade from 10 to 11, so Windows 11 and 12 will have Xbox integrated in the code, which means millions of Xboxes in seconds when it goes live. Like, boom, problem solved. Problem solved. World hunger has been solved, essentially, for Xbox, as far as funds, as far as trying to maintain the Xbox ecosystem. It has been solved just like that. New hardware, right? Possibly the handheld or maybe even a console. We don't know yet at this point in time. Selling software everywhere. We're missing a big point here. The ecosystem, the fan base has been conditioned, like the sheep they are, to subscribe to Game Pass. They aren't selling any games. This is the whole point, David. This is the whole point. They're not buying games. You're part of the issue as well, just like we referred to Dano. You guys not being honest with your fan base continues to put Microsoft and Xbox in these situations in addition to themselves. They're not innocent in all this as well, obviously. But you guys didn't help. I promise you, you having a fan base, you being truthful, goes a long ways. And talk some sense into folks, right? This is not it. There is no checkmate here. This is delusion at its finest. And again, quite frankly, embarrassing. And they saw me just outright lying. This has nothing to do with how you edit. This has nothing to do with topics and gaming and stuff like that. But it's embarrassing. I can't fathom having somebody watch something of myself and me straight up lying. Because that just shows your character. You know you're lying too. And if you don't think you're lying, you need to go get checked in the head. You need to go see a therapist because we have some serious problems here. And the reason I'm picking this one apart so much is because this is crazy spinning right here. Why are we lying? All these are lying to a point, right? Some just copium, some just salty, some just whatever. A lot of these are just lying. It's not just David at that point, but I don't understand the fascination with lying. I don't understand that. But that being said, we're going to wrap it up here. I would love to hear from you all down in the comment section below what you think about all this nonsense, the craziness in this particular episode alone, right? But yes, every like and comment does help out the algorithm. Thank you so much. Also, if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing. It would help me out so much. Thank you so much. We are getting so close to that 3,000 sub goal, so I am so appreciative of that. I cannot thank you enough. I will do that every single time. So that being said, of course, I just want to leave on a note as well that some of you have been up and down with how long the videos are. I try to keep it around 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes it goes a little over because there's just been so much salt lately, right? And I'm trying to get as much out there as possible. That being said, so some of you like it longer, some of you like it a little bit shorter, so I try to meet in the middle there, right? So I appreciate the feedback, though, from everybody, of course. And at the end of the day, just remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.